Welcome to our deep dive on the U-Visa journey. Today we'll focus on what happens after you submit your application, because submission is truly only the beginning. First, we'll outline the road ahead. Then, we'll break down timelines, bona fide determinations, work authorization, waitlists, requests for evidence, and moving toward a green card. Finally, we'll share practical tips, common pitfalls, and a short quiz to test your understanding. Let's begin. First, here is our roadmap. We'll start with U-Visa basics. Next, we'll discuss what to expect after submission. Then, we'll compare bona fide determinations and final approvals. After that, we'll examine work authorization options. We will also walk through timelines and waitlists. Following that, we'll share practical tips and a checklist. Finally, we'll test your knowledge with a quiz and wrap up with key takeaways. Before we go further, a brief disclaimer. This content is educational and not legal advice. Immigration rules and policies can change, and every person's case is unique. Therefore, please consult a qualified immigration attorney or accredited representative for advice tailored to your situation. With that in mind, let's continue. Now, let's clarify what the U-Visa is. The U non-immigrant status is for certain victims of qualifying crimes who have suffered substantial physical or mental abuse, and who are helpful, have been helpful, or are likely to be helpful to law enforcement or prosecutors. The goal is to enhance public safety while protecting victims. In addition to protection within the United States, U status can offer work authorization and, after meeting certain requirements, a path to lawful permanent residences. With that foundation set, we can move on to the core requirements and supporting documents. Next, let's review core eligibility. First, the crime must be one of the qualifying offenses, such as domestic violence, sexual assault, stalking, trafficking, felonious assault, or other listed crimes. Second, you must have suffered substantial physical or mental abuse as a result of the crime. Third, you must possess information about the criminal activity and be helpful, have been helpful, or be likely to be helpful to law enforcement. Fourth, you will need a properly signed Form I-918. Supplement B, which is the law enforcement certification attesting to your helpfulness. Fifth, you submit Form I-918 for the principal applicant, and Form I-918A for qualifying family members, if applicable. Finally, if you are inadmissible, you may need to file Form I-192 for a waiver. With the basics in place, let's map the entire journey from filing to final outcomes. This flowchart traces the U-Visa journey. It begins when the crime occurs and is reported to law enforcement. From there, the survivor obtains the I-918B certification confirming helpfulness. Next, the applicant prepares evidence, such as personal statements, proof of harm, and police or court records. The application package, including I-918 and any I-918A for derivatives, is then filed. After filing, USCIS issues a receipt notice and schedules biometrics, followed by background and security checks. If the application is sufficiently complete and passes initial checks, USCIS may issue a bona fide determination that can lead to deferred action and eligibility for work authorization. Because there is an annual cap, cases may be placed on a wait list until a visa becomes available. Ultimately, the case reaches final adjudication, which could be approval, a request for evidence, or a notice of intent to deny. If approved, the applicant receives U non-immigrant status for up to 4 years. After 3 years of continuous presence in U status and meeting other criteria, the applicant may file Form I-485 to adjust status to lawful permanent residence. If an RFE or NOID is issued, the process branches to submission of additional evidence and returns to adjudication. In the event of a denial, an applicant may consider appeals, motions, or alternative forms of relief with counsel. Now, let's zoom in on what happens right after you submit. Now let's talk about the period after filing. First, you should receive a receipt notice assigning a case number. Next, USCIS will schedule your biometrics appointment, and it is critical not to miss it. Meanwhile, background and security checks will be conducted. If your filing is sufficiently complete and meets certain initial standards, USCIS may issue a bona fide determination. If evidence is lacking or unclear, you may receive a request for evidence, which will include a deadline and list of items to submit. Additionally, Due to the statutory cap on U visas for principal applicants, many cases are placed on a waitlist even when they are approvable. Understanding these possibilities helps manage expectations. Next, let's distinguish between a bona fide determination and a final approval. Let's compare the bona fide determination with final approval. A bona fide determination is an initial USCIS screening indicating your filing appears complete and credible. It can result in deferred action and eligibility for employment authorization, often under Category C14, but it does not grant U status. The case can still receive requests for evidence or be denied later. By contrast, final approval is a full adjudication that grants U non-immigrant status, generally for up to 4 years. After approval, the principal typically qualifies for an EAD under Category A19, while derivatives use a 20. Time in approved U status counts toward the continuous presence requirement for a future green card application. Travel and derivative processing are governed by the U visa rules at that stage. Now that you know the difference, let's explore work authorization pathways. Moving forward, let's address work authorization. If you receive a bona fide determination and deferred action, you may be eligible to file Form I-765 for an employment authorization document, often under Category C14. After final U approval, the principal generally uses Category A19, and derivatives use a 20 when applying for or renewing employment authorization. It is essential to keep your address updated with USCIS using Form AR11 so that you do not miss your EADs or notices. Finally, always check the latest USCIS guidance, as categories or procedures can evolve. Next, we will visualize an approximate timeline. This timeline is illustrative and not a promise of processing times. Typically, after filing, you receive a receipt and biometrics in the early months. Initial review and background checks can take many months. A bona fide determination, if issued, might arrive anywhere from the first year to later, depending on your case and policy. Because of the statutory cap, many applicants spend significant time on a waitlist, even if their case is approvable. Final adjudication can take several years, sometimes more than 4 to 6 years overall. If approved, U status is granted for up to 4 years. After at least 3 years of continuous presence in U status and meeting other requirements, you may be eligible to file Form I-485 for a green card. Next, we will look at a high-level distribution of where time is spent, purely for illustration. This pie chart is a purely illustrative view of where time and effort may be spent during a U visa case. A large portion often reflects backlogs and waitlists caused by statutory caps. Background and security checks can be thorough and lengthy. Evidence collection and responding to requests for evidence may consume additional time. Initial intake and biometrics occur early. Final review and decision occupy a smaller percentage in this illustrative breakdown. Remember, every case is different. Now let's organize key forms and notes in a quick table. Here is a concise forms table. The I-918 is the principal application for U status and requires a properly signed Supplement B certification. The I-918A is for eligible derivative family members. The I-192 is used to request a waiver of inadmissibility when needed. The I-765 is for employment authorization, with the category depending on whether the case is in a deferred action stage or approved U status. The AR11 is used to update your address, which is essential to receive notices. The I-485 is the application to adjust to lawful permanent residence after meeting the requirements under Section 245M, including 3 years of continuous presence in U status. Always verify current fees and instructions on the USCIS website. Next, let's move into practical, actionable tips. Here are practical steps to stay prepared. First, create and maintain a secure case file that includes all receipts, biometrics notices, any requests for evidence in your responses, and supporting documents like police reports or court records. Next, track all deadlines carefully using calendar alerts. Keep your address and contact information updated with USCIS via Form AR11 and with your legal representative. Continue to be responsive and cooperative with law enforcement if they reach out. Update your evidence when circumstances change, including therapy records or safety plans that document ongoing impact. Avoid departing the United States without professional guidance, as travel can carry significant risks for pending applicants. Consider mental health support. It can benefit your well-being and help you craft a thorough personal statement. Finally, Monitor USCIS processing times and policy updates so you are not caught off guard. Now let's test your understanding with a quick quiz. Question 1. Which statement best describes a bona fide determination? Option A says it is a final approval valid for 4 years. Option B says it is an initial review that may lead to deferred action and employment authorization eligibility, but is not final approval. Option C says it guarantees immediate work authorization without background checks. Option D says it replaces the need for a law enforcement certification. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section. The correct answer is the option describing BFD as an initial review that may lead to deferred action and work authorization eligibility but is not a final approval. This distinction is crucial for setting realistic expectations. Next, let's try one more question about eligibility for a green card after U status. Question 2. After how long in U status may a principal typically apply for a green card under INA 245M, assuming other requirements are met? The options are 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, or 5 years of continuous presence. You may pause the video now to consider your answer. We will discuss it in the next section. The correct answer is 3 years of continuous presence in U status, along with meeting other statutory requirements, before filing Form I-485. This timeline is subject to eligibility and any policy changes, so always verify current guidance. Next, we will consolidate key points to remember. Here are your key takeaways. First, submission initiates a lengthy process that requires patience and organization. Second, a bona fide determination may provide deferred action and access to employment authorization, but it is not final approval. Third, always maintain updated contact information and track all deadlines using AR11 and reliable calendar systems. Fourth, consider eligibility for derivatives by filing I-918A when appropriate. Fifth, after final U approval and 3 years of continuous presence, you may be eligible to pursue a green card via Form I-485. Now, let's summarize and bring it all together. In summary, the U visa offers protection to survivors of certain crimes who help law enforcement. After filing, you should anticipate receipt notices, biometrics, and background checks, with possible outcomes including bona fide determinations, requests for evidence, or waitlisting. Work authorization depends on your stage, often Category C14 with deferred action, and categories a 19 or a 20 after final approval. The long-term goal is U approval, and after 3 years of continuous presence in U status and meeting other criteria, eligibility to file for a green card via Form I-485. Throughout, stay informed and consult qualified counsel as policies evolve. Finally, let's close with a thank you and a brief call to action. Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, please like the video, share it with someone who may benefit, and subscribe for more clear immigration explainers. We welcome your questions and experiences in the comments and appreciate your engagement. See you in the next video.